So, the weather's been terrible again, and you're just bored of watching the same old tired videos on YouTube, apart from on my channel, of course. So, it's time to reach for the DVD collection. Hello, welcome back to the Adrian Project. I'm Adrian with a face for radio, and on today's episode, I'm going to be giving you my top 5 choice for films to watch on a rainy Sunday, Volume 2. So, cue the music. Scientist Dr. Rick Marshall gets more than he bargained for when his expedition takes a wrong turn into the land of the lost. Now, Marshall, his crack-smart research assistant Holly, and a redneck survivalist named Will have no weapons, few skills, and questionable smarts to survive in a world full of marauding dinosaurs and fantastic creatures. Right, so his first pick today is Land of the Lost, starring, of course, Will Ferrell. Now, I think Will Ferrell's a bit Marmite, isn't he? You either love him or you hate him. I absolutely love his work, even though I do think a lot of his films are hit and miss. When he misses the mark, they are a bit of a turkey. But when he hits the mark, they are absolutely brilliant. And I think he hits the mark fantastically with Land of the Lost. This film gets absolute slating by the critics on both YouTube and the film critics that get paid for doing it. And honestly, I don't know why. This film is absolutely laugh out loud hilarious. Starring alongside him, Anna Friel and Danny McBride. There are one-line gags in this that you're going to have to trawl through a hell of a lot of comedy films to find any better. Will Ferrell plays his part to a T, and one of the big funny things for it as well, he's got a love for Showtime music as well and all the dance choreography. And what can I say? It's Will Ferrell. If you love his films and you know his work, you know what you're going to be getting. Now, you might know this film only from the version that you see on television. When you buy the DVD, you'll find out that they do cut a few bits out of it. I don't understand why. Probably could be running time. I just don't know. But seeing the full version of it makes it a hell of a lot better. Like I say, there's a scene in the cave which they don't show you on the television, and God, I had to keep playing that one back. It's absolutely hilarious. Of course, it's all based on the original 1960s TV show Land of the Lost. I sort of kind of remember that being on the telly when I was growing up, but this film, absolutely hilarious. Danny McBride, he's absolutely brilliant in it as well. He's laugh out funny. Anna Friel, I suppose you could call her the straight person in between these two, but she does have her own funny lines in it as well. And the T-Rex, Rexy, in this, He's just a standout character as well. Absolutely brilliant. Like I say, totally ignore the naysayers for this film. I don't know what film they're watching. It can't be this one because this one is just hilarious. And so, with that in mind, I'm going to give Will Ferrell's Land of the Lost my full 5 Evil Ednas. Young newlyweds Paul and Bea travel to a remote lake house for their honeymoon, where the promise of private romance awaits them. Paul is woken in the middle of the night by a shaft of light entering the cabin, which sets off his bedside alarm. Returning to bed, he finds it empty and, after an anxious period of search, discovers a naked Bea, cold and disorientated in the woods. As she becomes more distant towards him and her behaviour increasingly peculiar, Paul begins to suspect something more sinister than sleepwalking took place in the woods. Right, so next one up is one for all you horror fans out there, Honeymoon. Now, I feel this film is so criminally underrated. Hardly anybody talks about it, even on YouTube with a lot of these horror channels that don't touch upon it. You really have to dig about to find some horror fans out there which will actually give this film the time of day. It stars Rose Leslie, who was in Game of Thrones, and Paul Treadaway, who was in the original series of Penny Dreadful. He played Victor Frankenstein in that. They're a newlywed couple who come out to this secluded cabin where Rose Leslie character Bea had grown up some private time and to have the honeymoon. Everything seems to be normal until they go into the small town where there's a little cafe, and the owners of the cafe are acting a little odd, to say the least. So come away from that thinking, well, it's a bit standoffish. Didn't think anything of it. This film is a bit of a slow burner to start off with. It's not going to give its secrets away straight away, but as soon as the action to call it, kicks in, that's when this film takes off. Paul, played by Harry Treadaway, is woken up by this beam of light, realises that Bea's missing, and he goes out into the woods to look for her. Finds her naked and disorientated, doesn't know what's gone off, and that is when things start to take a bit of a turn. Bea's character starts acting a little strange, a bit standoffish, doesn't want Paul touching her or anything, and he's starting to wonder, have you gone off me or whatever. Then he goes back out into the woods, finds where a nightdress was, and finds it's all ripped to pieces, and that's when he starts to suspect a little more happened in the woods than what she's either telling him about or than what she can remember. Like I say, this is a horror film. It's also got a little bit of gore in it. Now, I'm talking about the bathroom scene. It always makes Claire wince and sort of squirm uncomfortably. It's the only bit of gore in the film, really, but if you're a lady watching this, you might need either a cushion to hide behind or to bite on. It's not pleasant, but it's absolutely fantastic, brilliant effects on it, and events just spiral out of control after that, and there is a little bit of a shock ending to it as well. I'm not going to give anything away at all. Like I say, totally underrated, this film, even by a lot of horror fans. Don't know why, because this is absolutely brilliant. So if you want a little bit of horror on your Sunday afternoon or any other day to watch, actually, I can highly recommend this one. And of course, I'm going to give this one my full 5 Evil Ednas. When Mo Folchart reads a story, the characters leap off the page, literally, and that's a problem. Mo must somehow use his magic powers to send the interlopers back to their own world and save ours. If ever a task was easier read than done, this is it. Mo and his daughter Meggie, aided by friends real and fictional, plunge into a thrilling quest that pits them against diabolical villains, fantastic beasts and dangers at every turn. If it's a family film you're looking for, I can highly recommend Inkheart. And again, seems to be a running theme with this video, this is yet another film that gets an absolute slating, and I don't know why. Stars Brendan Fraser as Mo Folchart, that's a really hard name to say, who has the ability that if he reads a book aloud, the characters come out of the book into the real world. However, the catch is, for every person that comes out of the real world, somebody has got to go back into the fictional world, and this can lead to a problem when he reads his young daughter a story and his wife goes missing. Cast list on this film is amazing. You've got Gollum himself, Andy Serkis is the main bad guy, Helen Mirren, Jim Broadbent, Brendan Fraser. It's just awesome. Paul Bettany, of course, as well, he's in it. The special effects in this film are fantastic. The story itself is brilliantly written. It's a great film. Grown-ups and children both will absolutely love this film. So like I say, I cannot understand why it gets the panning it gets. It really drags you into the story. Of course, it's all based around books, and I don't know what it is about this film. Every time I watch this film, I want to just go away and read a book. It makes you want to go and read, which is never a bad thing. So if you can get that across to young kids that's watching it and get them reading books again, it's a win all around. Like I say, all the elements are there for your family entertainment. You've got the hero, you've got the boo hiss villain, you've got his god-awful henchman. Again, it's looking at the henchman and going, oh, I recognise him, oh, who's that, what were he in? There's a lot of characters in there that you'll be sat there wondering where you've seen them from and trying to look behind the makeup. Absolutely brilliant film, like I say. It sets up to the grand finale, which will have you on the end of the seat. I don't think there's anything here that is really going to frighten small tots. There could be a couple of moments they might want to stick the old fingernails into your arm because it's a bit scary for them. But for the most part, this is a fantastic family film. I absolutely love it. It's a fantasy film. If you love fantasy films, you know, like the Ray Harryhausen films, or you know, Stardust, or films like that, this is what that kind of film is. I absolutely love this film. Claire loves this film. Like I say, it's one of those that gets short thrift on all these up their own arse film sites. I don't know why, because this is absolutely fantastic. Like I say, even as a grown-up, I think you'll love this film. It'll bring out the kid in you, and that can only be a good thing. And yes, yet again, running theme on this video, I'm going to give Inkheart every day of the week my full 5 Evil Ednas. "18 years after Jake and Beth were married, Beth still finds him irresistible. Jake is a muscular, handsome man who exudes sexual energy, but he spends most of his time in the bar demanding respect and becoming drunk and violent. Beth struggles to keep her family together, though the violence takes its toll. One son has joined a vicious gang. The other has been taken to a welfare home, but she remains faithful to Jake. Still untouched is Grace, the beautiful teenage daughter, a gifted writer and thinker, and the most vulnerable member of the family. What happens to her changes the family's life forever. Beth will at last be forced to make a choice and to seek a new alternative for her own survival. So, next one up, and this one definitely is not a family film, is Once Were Warriors. If you want real, true to life, gritty drama, then this is the one for you. It's a film from New Zealand. I don't know what it is, it must be something in the water in New Zealand and Australia. But the films that come out of there, I don't think I've ever seen a bad film. Obviously, they must do one somewhere, but every film we've seen from down there, from Land Down Under, as the song went, it's just fantastic, and this is no exception. And I think this film is done absolutely brilliantly. It couldn't have been made this way anywhere else. Starring, let's try and pronounce his name right, Tamura Morrison as Jake, or Jake the Muss as he's known in the film. This guy scares you to death just by looking at you. Honestly, it sets on edge. It makes you believe he can actually see you through the screen. I think everybody in every walk of life knows a Jake the Muss somewhere, the bloke that is sort of built like a brick outhouse. When he's away from the drink, is the nicest bloke ever, do anything for you. But as soon as he has a bit of the old adult pop, shall we say, it makes him into a totally different person. And he's the most brutal, violent man on the planet, I think. This film it's intense. You may watch this and switch it off halfway through because you can't stomach it. And that's not just because you're some lily-livered left-wing snowflake. It is really a really hard watch. You feel for Beth, played by, I've got my glasses on for this, sorry about this, Rena Owen. Absolutely superb performances. It's superb performances all the way by everybody on the film, that these two characters chew up absolutely every scene that they're on. It's hard hitting, it's brutal. I think it makes you look at your own life and how you moan about, oh, we ain't got this and we ain't got that and blah blah. It'll make you glad for what you do have. It makes you feel sorry for the kids as well that's involved, because they aren't immune to being on the wrong end of the stick from Jake the Muss. Absolutely brutal film, absolutely fantastic film, brilliantly written. I don't know if it's based on a book or a play or anything like that. It is just awesome. Like I say, it's a brutal film. There is violence in it, and it's really real violence. It's not a kind of Hollywood stage kind of violence. This really looks like people are getting punched. But it's like I say, it is a hard film to watch, but you watch it all the way through and it is rewarding. I'm not going to give the ending away. There is a twist at the end of Jake Muss and his best friend, that we don't condone violence in any shape or manner, but as they always say, there's an exception to the rule, and when it happens, you find yourself going, yes, go on, get in. I'm not going to give it away, not going to give it away at all. You have to sit and watch it. It is a brutal film, it's a brutally honest film. It makes you look at yourself a lot, this does, especially if you know people who are like this. What more can I say? I cannot recommend this film highly enough. It's one of those under the radar films that when people do talk about it, they cannot praise this film highly enough. If this was an American film, it was a Hollywood film, this would be at least an Oscar contender, if not an Oscar winner. That's how brilliant it is. I've seen Tamara Morrison and a few other things, as well as a great actor, but I don't think it's ever been as intense as this. There is a follow-up to this film. It's called What Becomes of the Broken Hearted, which is equally as brilliant. I've got that, I forgot to bring it in with me. It is equally as brilliant. If you can get the two together, I'd just say go out and buy them. They are brilliant films, fantastically well written, brilliantly acted. Yeah, it's a hard watch. I keep saying it's a hard watch. It's the hardest watch of any film that I own or have seen. And again, if I could, I would give this at least another 5 extra Ednas, but we only go up to 5. So again, in this for this series of films in this video, once again, I'm going to give this film, Once Warriors, my full 5 evil Ednas. Selina St. George stares at the note and news clipping. Her estranged mother Dolores has been accused of murder. Grudgingly, Selina returns to her tiny Maine hometown to offer help. Not that she believes Dolores is innocent. In truth, she harbours suspicions going back 20 years. The two circle warily, piecing together past and present, memory and fact, to reveal the startling truth behind 2 mysterious deaths. And the last film for our 5 films to watch on a rainy Sunday is Dolores Clineborne. Now, unless you're an absolute massive Stephen King fan, this is probably one of his books that you've not heard of, and it's probably one of the films that you've never heard of too. I think this has only ever been shown on UK television twice that I can remember of, but it's absolutely fantastic. Starring Kathy Bates and Jennifer Jason Leigh, set in Maine, as Stephen King's books and films always seem to be. It seems to be some kind of shared universe that they're all in. Jennifer Jason Leigh is working on a paper, finds out that her mother has been accused of murdering the woman that she is a housekeeper for. Now, normally that would set the alarm bells going, oh, I've got to go and prove her innocence. But as it happens, 20 years prior, her mother was accused of the murder of her partner. It was never proved. So this has her alarm bells going. You know, is there some history there? Is she some kind of serial killer? So she has to go back and try and help out and try and unravel the mystery, what's happening. Also in the film, Christopher Plummer plays the town sheriff who's been gunning for Kathy Bates' character, Dolores Clineborne, for the last 2 decades. He is totally convinced that he did murder her partner and that she's guilty of murdering the housekeeper as well, because there's money involved. There's a lot of twists and turns in this, is what you'd expect from a Stephen King. I know a lot of his books don't translate onto film very well. I don't understand why, because he is a fantastic writer. But this is one of those standout films that you'd have thought would be on the top of a lot of people's Stephen King films list, but it just doesn't get talked about. And I say Kathy Bates starred in another Stephen King vehicle, Misery, of course, and you think Stephen King, Kathy Bates, that's the film that you go to. I think this film is equally as good, but it's a totally different animal. And And I say the twist in the story, which is what you always get. Unless you've read the book, you won't know what the twist is. It's absolutely brilliant. I can't recommend this film highly enough. Again, it's not a family film, it's an adult film. There are things in there that you don't want your kids hearing about. And like I say, if you've not heard of this film before, you are missing out big time. If you go onto Amazon, I managed to find my copy on Amazon. There was somebody on there selling it. Did take a couple of weeks for it to come, but like I say, Claire had never seen it before, she'd never heard of it, and it's now up there in her top 10 films. Absolutely loves it. I absolutely love it. And again, for the 5th time in this video, I'm going to give Dolores Clineborne my full 5 Evil Ednas. And that's the end of yet another episode. I hope you all enjoyed that one. If you did, and you haven't done so already, could you please remember to subscribe to my channel. At the moment, I'm aiming to get 1,000 subscribers. And as soon as I hit that 1,000th subscriber mark, I will donate at least £20 to Macmillan Nurses here in the UK. For those of you living outside of the UK and you don't know who the Macmillan Nurses are, they are there to help everyone with cancer live life as fully as they can, providing physical, financial and emotional support. I myself have had their services firsthand and I can tell you they are exceptional. A lot of the time they do have to rely on public donations, so if you'd like to find out more about Macmillan Nurses, or in fact give a little donation yourself, then please visit www.macmillan.org.uk. Okay, I'd like to thank you all again for watching. It's very much appreciated. Don't forget, you can still follow me on Facebook and on Twitter if that's going to be easy for you. And here's to seeing you all again on the next episode of the Adrian Bow Project.